Travel along, Catholic pilgrims, for 1 year as we read through St. Faustina's diary. Join me, Amy Thomas, each day for a short reading out of the diary which brought us a deeper understanding of Christ's divine mercy. Hey there, Catholic pilgrims. It's day 22 of our readings from St. Faustina's diary. Today's show is sponsored by My Saint, My Hero. I first came in contact with the jewelry from the company My Saint, My Hero when I was living in Dayton. I went to a Catholic coffee shop and they had a display there of some bracelets and earrings and necklaces from them, and I just absolutely loved it. And I've got some miraculous metal earrings that I love to wear. And their jewelry really is a tasteful way to showcase our faith and great conversation starters. I've had tons of people look at my earrings and go, what is that? And then I get to talk about the miraculous metal. So please check them out at www.mysaintmyhero.com. Okay, so today's readings are from Notebook 1, numbers 62 through 64. And today's readings are a little all over the place. She's going to talk about one thing and then move to talk about Father Sapotska, and then she's going to tell us a little story. So it was a little difficult to pick out what I wanted to talk about today because there wasn't a ton of flow, but I did finally settle on what was speaking to me the most. So we're going to get started right now with 62 through 64. O life so dull and monotonous, how many treasures you contain. When I look at everything with the eyes of faith, no 2 hours are alike, and the dullness and monotony disappear. The grace which is given me in this hour will not be repeated in the next. It may be given me again, but it will not be the same grace. Time goes on, never to return again. Whatever is enclosed in it will never change. It seals with the seal of eternity. Father Sapotska must be well loved by God. I say this because I myself have experienced how much God defends him at certain moments. When I see this, I rejoice greatly that God has such chosen ones. 1929, the trip to Calvary. When I came to Vilnius for 2 months to replace a sister who had gone for her third probation, Sister Peter, who worked in the kitchen, I stayed a little longer than 2 months. One day, the Mother Superior, Irene, wanting to give me a bit of pleasure, gave me permission to go, together with another sister, to Calvary to walk the paths, as they say. I was delighted. Although it was not very far, it was Mother Superior's wish that I should go by boat. That evening, Jesus said to me, "I want you to stay home." I answered, "Jesus, everything is ready for us to leave tomorrow morning. What am I to do now?" The Lord answered, "This trip will be harmful to your soul." I replied to Jesus, "You can find a way out. Arrange things in such a way that your will may be done." At that moment, the bell announced the time for sleep. I gave Jesus a parting glance and went to my cell. Next morning, the weather was beautiful, and my companion was filled with joy at the prospect of the great pleasure we would have in getting to see everything. But as for me, I was sure we would not go, even though there were no obstacles so far. We were to receive Holy Communion earlier and leave right after the Thanksgiving. But during the time of communion, all of a sudden the weather changed. Clouds covered the sky and the rain came down in torrents. Everyone was astounded at such a change in the weather. Mother Superior said to me, "I am so sorry you cannot go, sisters." I answered, "Dear Mother, it doesn't really matter that we cannot go. It was God's will that we stay home." However, no one knew that it was Jesus' express desire that I stay home. I spent the whole day in recollection and meditation, thanking the Lord for having kept me home. That day, God granted me many heavenly consolations. Okay, so if you noticed, we went back in time a little bit to 1929. And we had been in the year 1933, and now she takes us back a little bit in time. But just so that you understand the trip to Calvary, what she's meaning by that is, there was a place across the river from the town, and there were stations of the cross there and they called it Calvary. And going from station to station, they called walking the paths. So that's where she was going, if you were wondering. She wasn't going to Jerusalem, to Calvary, but just wanted to clear that up. So what stuck out the most to me in this was the very first part, where she says, "Oh, life, so dull and monotonous, how many treasures you contain." I was talking to my dad one time, and he said, when you're a kid and it snows, it's so awesome because you want to get out into it, and you want to play in it, and you want to sled in it, and you want to make snow angels, and you don't care if it's cold, and you bundle up and you can stay out there all day. He's like, but there comes a point in life where you hit an age where that's just not that big of a desire anymore, and you come to hate the snow. I was like, that's so true. What is that magical age? But when I was reading through this, it got me thinking about that conversation with my dad, and I think it all comes down to childlike wonder and awe. So many of us lose that as we age. We get to the point where we're like, yeah, I don't need to read anything anymore. Yeah, what's traveling? There's nothing new under the sun, and I don't need to learn anything else. And we just get into this dull and monotonous path on our lives where nothing really excites us anymore. We don't have that awe and that wonder and that delight that we had as kids. And we all see it. We all see it in people. We kind of get to where it's just Groundhog Day for us. We get up, we eat, we go to work or school, we come home, we go to sleep. We start it all over again the next day. And we don't really see each day as having anything new to show us, or there's not that much to delight in, and we just got to do all these responsibilities. And so, nothing is fresh or new, and everything just kind of becomes dull to us. I saw this meme one time that said, "Who knew that adulthood was just planning and cooking meals until you die?" And in a way, it's kind of funny because it's true. You do have to plan meals, but in a way, it's kind of a little sad that we look at the world that way. Because in a way, it's kind of saying, who knew every day you have to get up and live your life till you die? Which kind of makes me feel sad. And I know it's meant to be funny and haha, and it is. But still, there's something there that kind of just made me feel, oof. And I think that's what she's talking about. When we stop seeing the world through eyes of faith, everything just seems to kind of become glossed over, and nothing is that interesting to us anymore. But she says, when I look at everything with the eyes of faith, no 2 hours are alike. And the dullness and monotony disappear. And that's so true. I went on a silent retreat one time about 2 years ago, and it was for 2 days where we couldn't talk or anything. And we were in this big building. There was no electronics, no nothing. And, I was a little worried, like, how are we going to spend our time? I mean, obviously we're going to go to mass. Obviously we're going to spend time in adoration, but what are we going to do? Is it going to be kind of dull? And it wasn't, because when my goal going in there was just, Jesus, I just want to spend this time with you. I want to grow in my faith, and I want to learn. And it was such an enriching time, and it was never boring. Never. Even though no one was talking to me, I had no electronics. Most of the time I was just kind of wandering around chapels and sitting in adoration and just thinking about God. I felt like a child, just like sitting at Christ's feet, just teach me. And it was so awesome. It was so good. And I think a lot of times we lose that. So this is what I would focus on today, Catholic pilgrims. Has your life gotten to the point where it's just like, I feel like I've got it all figured out. Every day is just the next. I mean, we kind of all feel that way with COVID, but if your life has gotten that way, I would really pray earnestly for God to give you eyes like a child. They delight in so many things. Everything is new. Everything is something to figure out. And we lose that as we become adults. We stop finding interest, and we stop wanting to really learn just for the sake of learning and to gather knowledge. And then life does kind of become dull and monotonous. So I would really encourage you to think about that. Are you looking at life with the eyes of faith, or just has that fire kind of gone out? And if it has, that's something I would definitely pray on, that God might open your eyes and give you the eyes of faith so you can see things differently. So I will see you back here tomorrow, Catholic pilgrims, for day 23. And until then, live the faith boldly and travel well.